Allow me to introduce yung basic speaker natin, si Sherwin S. Cruel, MSc. So yun, Sir Sherwin is a current research associate in the Virology and Vaccine Laboratory in the Department of Veterinary Clinical Sciences in the College of Veterinary Medicine, UP Los Baños. So yan, without further ado, allow me to introduce Sir Sherwin.
Good evening, everyone. So again, I am Sherwin Scorel, and currently I'm a research associate at College of Veterinary Medicine in UPLB. Okay, UPLB. Okay, and yeah, currently I'm taking my master's degree in zoology, minor in mall bio and biotech. And then I'm also a former special research student at the National Research Center for Protozoan Diseases in Obihiro University of Agriculture and Veterinary Medicine, Hokkaido, Japan. Okay, and yeah, so I believe that's it. So let's start our discussion today about biology. Okay, but before we proceed or bago tayo pumunta dun sa mismong sa ating i-discuss ngayon, since ang topic ko ay biology, so I'll call all of you as kabayo. So before we start, I want you to answer this question first. Kung kamusta na kayo so far when you're reviewing. I want you to key it in our chat box below kung, ayan, kamusta ang inyong buhay-buhay? Okay, ayun, ang sabi dito, hindi po ako okay. Ayan, sige. Sige, tulungan kita regarding sa biology. I-check natin yan. Masakit sa ulo. Sige, tulungan ko pa din kayo kung bakit kung paano nating gagawing mas madali siya. I mean, mas madali yung biology. Ayun, buhay pa naman and ayun, miss na siya. Sana all miss na siya. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for that one. Keep it coming, your comments in the comment section. So let's start with our first question. Okay, so ayan. So let me read first the question, and then I'll give you 1 minute to answer the question. And then as we move forward, you can, and then we're going to discuss that one. Okay? And then you can actually answer dun sa ating comment section. So just keep it coming and so on and so forth. Okay? Okay. Let's start with question number 1. In Anurans, sexual dimorphism is exhibited through the presence of thin ventral skin in males and thick ventral skin in females. So what do you think is the best reason for this? A, females tend to increase toxins. Letter B, presence of the vocal sac in males. Letter C, homeostasis in both sexes. And then letter D, males are more dominant and adapted to the environment, giving them a thin ventral skin. So you may start answering the question. So ayan, yeah, keep it coming, your answers. No more. Ayan, ang main nagsagot dito, B po, sabi ni Cel Camarines. Correct me if I'm wrong if I mispronounce your name. B po, sir, no more explanation. Baka, may issue ako dito. And then, sabi dito, B daw, sabi nung nasa taas. Yeah, thank you. B for biology. Okay, thank you. Ayan, paano kung chamba lang po, puhu? Sabi ni Chelsea. And then, I believe most of the answer is B. Sige. Keep it coming pa. B daw, sabi ni Gian. Sabi ni Jessie, presence of vocal sac in males. Letter B. Ako hindi ko alam yung Anurans. Sige, i-discuss natin yan later. Okay, So yeah, time's up. So the correct answer is letter B. It's the presence of the vocal sac in male. So let's discuss them one by one. Okay. So when you say anurans, these are actually groups of frogs. Okay, or to be exact, this is actually under order Anura. Okay, so these are group of frogs. Okay, and then sexual dimorphism, meaning it's either the frog is male or it's either the frog is female. Okay, so let's discuss bakit presence or bakit letter B yung sagot dito sa question number 1. Okay, but before we proceed, let's discuss first yung sinabi doon kasi 'di ba dito sa question may sinabi ventral or yung anatomical position. Okay, so again, let's utilize the guy who's wearing the black polo or former secretary Harry Roque. Okay, and then credits sa Buhay Biologist. Okay, so 'di ba when you say ventral, okay, lagi yung tatandaan, yung ventral is yung harap. Okay? Or para mas mabilis nyong makuha na this is ventral or this specific part of the body is ventral. Lagi niyo 'di ba tatandaan yung ventral sounds like belly. Okay? So therefore, so that's ventral. And then ang kabaliktaran ng ventral ay okay, dorsal. Right? So ang dorsal ay nag-end sa letter L. So ibig sabihin sa likod. Okay, so ventral yung sa belly part and then sa dorsal is yung sa likod. So going back to the question, 'di ba? Ang sabi daw yung male daw, ang sabi doon sa sagot ang male daw ay may thin okay, na ventral skin. Okay, ito yung ventral skin ng male frog. Okay, and then kapag dorsal, ayan yung makita nyo. Ito yung ayan yung makita nyo pag view nyo sa microscope or sa dissecting microscope yung itsura ng skin ng frog, 'di ba? Medyo warty. Okay? So again, going back to this one, yung male daw may presence ng vocal sac. Okay? So kaya thin, 'di ba? Imagine kapag thick yung ventral skin ng male, so therefore hindi makapag produce ng sound yung vocal sac. And then that vocal sac is actually the vocal sac is actually responsible in mating. 'Di ba kung kadalasan maririnig nyo na nagkokokak yung mga palaka, it's because of or ang tawag kasi doon is advertisement call. Okay? Naghahanap ng partner si lalaki. Okay? And then according to studies, this specific studies na kapag mas malakas ang kokak ng palaka, mas if we make an analogy sa tao, mas pogi yon para sa mga palaka. Siya yung lalapitan ng female na palaka. So that's the reason why it's letter B. Okay? Okay. So thumbs up naman tayo dyan or heart react kung clear sa atin and so on and so forth. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that one. Thank you for that one. Sige, so let's proceed with question number 2. So for the question number 2, sobrang Englishera and Golden Retriever boy conducted an experiment to check whether the dialyzing membrane or the DM bag is a good model for semi-permeability of the cell membrane. They used table salt, muriatic acid, and starch. Confirmatory tests were also conducted to check if samples move out of the dialyzing membrane. Results show that starch did not move out of the DM bag. What do you think is the best reason the experiment yields that result or this specific result? Okay, letter A, starch was not mixed properly, hence it resulted into a high concentration inside the DM bag. Letter B, DM bag is not a good model for semi-permeability since starch did not move out of the bag. Letter C, starch is a carbohydrate Hence, it can't move out of the DM bag. And letter D, DM bag has a specific pore size that permits the movement of molecules in and outside. Okay, so time starts now. So ayan. Okay, sige. Magbasa mo tayo ng mga comment or mga answer nyo for question number 2. So sabi dito, letter D. Most of the answer is letter D. Ang sabi ni Mark CJ Ferreira, letter D. Nag-elimination method lang po ako ulit ako dyan. Since yung conclusion dyan ay gumalaw and some choice is sinabi na hindi gumalaw. So automatic po na out po sila. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. That's actually a good hypothesis. Sabi ni Keisha, letter D, if semi-permeable ang cell membrane, it means na it allows certain molecules or particles to come in. And relating it to this fact, the option D is yung pinakamalapit. Okay. Letter D, dahil 3/10 po ang score. Score ko sa test. So ayun nga, kaya nga kami nandito is for you to help. Okay? I mean for us to help you. Okay, para mas madaming masasagutan natin specifically kapag nag-upkata tayo. Okay? So the correct answer is actually letter D. So the DM bag has a specific pore size that permits the movement of molecules inside and then outside. Okay? So let's discuss why. So ang itsura ng dialyzing membrane para siyang ganyan. So maliit lang siya na plastic. Okay? And then dialyzing membrane is actually a good model of cell membrane. Okay? So why? Okay, it's because it shows one of the characteristics of a cell membrane, okay, which is semi-permeability or selective permeability. Okay, so parehas lang yun, yung semi-permeability and as well as selective permeability. So therefore, the question is why? Okay, so kapag sinabi mong semi-permeability or selective, okay, permeability, okay, it actually or it selectively permits the movement of molecules in and outside of the cell. So the question, paano natin marirelate yung DM bag? Okay, so ito yung itsura niya, ito yung ginawa naming experiment dito sa LD. So ayan yung itsura niya. So lalagyan mo ng mga samples dun sa loob ng DM bag. Okay, and then ayan. So, a specific, always take note na ang DM bag ay meron siyang pore size. Okay, and normally it is approximately, or the pore size is approximately 10 to 100 angstrom. Okay, so sa case ng table salt, okay, so as we all know naman, specifically in chemistry, kapag ang table salt is subjected to water, okay, yung NaCl will dissociate into sodium and then chloride ion. Okay, and then take note that sodium, okay, ang radius ng sodium ion is actually 98 picometer. Okay, so therefore, both the sodium ion and then the chloride ion can move inside and outside of the DM bag. Okay, so muriatic ion or yung tinatawag yung muriatic acid or yung tinatawag na HCl. Okay, so the HCl, once subjected into water, okay, it will actually dissociate into hydronium ion and then chloride ion. Okay, hence, yung hydronium ion can actually move inside and outside of the DM bag. On the other hand, for the starch, okay, so take note, ang starch, ang diameter niya is actually 10 to 35 micrometer. And take note that the starch is actually insoluble in water. And there is no actually osmotic potential. So meaning there's no net movement of the starch molecule inside of the DM bag going to the moving outside. Okay, so kaya letter D ang sagot. Kasi it's because yung starch is insoluble to water and then there's no osmotic potential since the diameter of the starch is actually big. So hindi siya makaka-pass through dun sa DMPAC. Okay, so kaya it's actually letter D, yung sagot natin for question number. Okay. So next. So ayan, so bago pala tayo mag-proceed dito sa question number 3, heart react muna kung naintindihan ba natin. Oh, okay. Ayan. Okay. Sige, let's proceed to question number 3. Okay. During replication, nucleotide mismatches in DNA strand were found. What specific molecule is responsible for the detection of mismatches in the DNA strand? A, DNA mismatches locator protein. B, DNA polymerase. C, RNA polymerase. And then letter D, helicase. So you may start answering it in our comment. Ayan, okay. Sorry for that one. Sige. Keep it coming. Okay. So ayan, so I'll read some of the answers here. Ang sabi nila ay letter B. DNA polymerase not only synthesizes but has proofreading capability. Okay, thank you for that one. Ang sabi ni Sel ulit, hinulaan ko lang sir, #honest. Okay, yeah, thank you for that one. Sabi ni Izir, cause it seems, ano yun, right, okay. So B talaga siya, lesson ata siya sa grade 10 or nung grade 10. Okay, thank you for that one, Aubrey. Okay, so the correct answer for for question number 3 is letter B. Okay, so let's try to, before we proceed with this one, alamin muna natin kung ano ba yung tinanong ko kanina. Okay, so di ba meron tayong tinatawag sa molecular bio, meron tayong tinatawag na central dogma. Okay, na kung saan yung DNA will become a DNA through the process of replication. And then the DNA will become an RNA through the process of transcription, and then the RNA will become protein through the process of translation. Pero hindi kagad, halimbawa from RNA to protein translation, may mga dinadaanan pa siyang other processes bago talaga siya maging protein. Okay, pero that's another story. Okay, so dito sa case natin or dun sa question natin, ang tinatanong doon is about DNA, okay, replication. Okay, so therefore, automatically, yung letter C natin or yung RNA polymerase natin ay, yung RNA polymerase natin ay tanggal kagad. Okay? So, ang ano lang natin, ang ating natitira is A, C, and D. And then obviously, yung A, there's no such thing as DNA mismatches locator protein. Walang ganong, kahit saan, walang ganong protein. Ginawa ko lang yan. Okay, so meron lang tayong B and then D. Okay, so take note ng ang helicase. Ang function ng helicase is to unwind. Okay, ina-unwind yung double helical structure ng DNA. So therefore, at ayun lang ang ayun lang ang kanyang process. Ayun lang ang kanyang function, no more, no less. On the other hand, the reason why kaya ang correct answer is DNA polymerase. Okay? So ayan, 'di ba? So ang DNA polymerase, as we all know, ang DNA polymerase is an example of replisomes. Okay, or ito yung mga proteins, yung mga enzymes na nagfa-function during DNA replication. Okay, at meron siyang dalawang properties. Okay, meron siyang number 1 is fidelity. Okay, so mataas yung kanyang fidelity, meaning when it comes to mismatches. Okay? So normally ang mistake lang na hindi nakikita ng DNA is 1 out of 1 billion. Okay? So take note, ang question di ba na may nakalagay dito, what's the polymerization direction? Okay? So take note, ang polymerization direction ay 5' to 3'. Okay? So, apart from polymerization activity, yung DNA polymerase, meron pa siyang dalawang exonuclease activity. Okay, so yung first one is yung 3' yung first one is yung 3' to 5' exonuclease activity or yung proofreading kung saan hinahanap niya kung saan yung mali dun sa nucleotide. Okay? So, sobrang importante nito lalo sa ating mga eukaryotic organism. Okay? Kasi syempre makita isang mali lang na nucleotide sa ating DNA, it would be detrimental sa end natin or sa atin bilang tao. Okay? And also in lower forms or in other animals. Okay? And then the other one is 5' to 3' exonuclease activity or it actually removes the primer at the 5' end. Okay? So kaya ang sagot doon sa question na yon ay letter B. Okay, so DNA polymerase. Okay, next. Ayan, wait lang. Okay, so next question. Plants have vascular bundles that include xylem and phloem. Kung etong nasa encircled part na yan. So what is the main function of these vessels? Okay, so letter A, aid. Okay, aid in the conduction of water and nutrients. Letter B, aid in the immune defense of the plants against pathogenic fungi. Letter C, serve as a meristematic tissue. And then letter D, function in Calvin's cycle. So you may start answering. Okay, sige. Magbasa ulit tayo ng comments dito sa ating comment section. Ang sabi ni Lian, isa po sa aking mga hulang tama ang sagot. At least, good job for you, Lian. At least tama ang iyong sagot. Okay, so good job, good job. And then most of you answers letter A. According to Enoch, letter A, xylem carries water and minerals, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, and then, ayun, according to Joshua, A kasi connected sa roots mga yan. Okay, thank you. And then the rest is actually letter A. Okay. Letter A. Okay, time's up. So let's check kung ano yung correct answer. Okay, so the correct answer is actually letter A. Okay, so it aid in the conduction of water and water, actually it's water, minerals, and nutrients. So parang kung gagawin natin ng analogy, sila yung blood vessels, okay, sa atin. Yeah, sa atin. Sila yung, ang xylem and phloem, ang counterpart ng blood vessels sa end natin. Okay? Okay, ayun, lagi niyong tandaan na their function is for the conduction or transport or delivery of water, minerals, and nutrients. Okay. So okay pa ba? Okay pa tayo diyan? So heart react muna tayo or thumbs up kung okay pa. Okay. Ayan, sige. Okay, let's proceed to question number 5. Ayan. Oops. Ayan. So Baby M, Zara, and Laliza conducted an experiment using the roots of corn. Okay. After 4 days, they noticed that the roots were growing fast. What do you think is the best inference why the roots grow fast? A, they use a lot of NPK fertilizers to help the roots to grow fast. Letter B, they use BT corn in their experiment. Letter C, roots of plants or the roots of the corn, okay, has apical meristem. And then letter D, all of the above. Okay, so yeah, you may start answering. So habang nag-answer kayo, magbasa ulit tayo. Okay, so some of you answer letter A. Okay, some of you answer letter C. Okay, thank you. Letter C. Ayan, sabi dito, wait lang, magbasa lang tayo ng comments. Tinuro siya ng grade 11. Alo sa names. Hahaha. Ayun. Okay, so I think most of you answer. Ayan, may sabi dito, apical meristem is responsible for creating cells and growth para ma-absorb ng light, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Cheese Whiz. Ang sama ng name mo, Cheese Whiz. Okay, but yeah, thank you. Jello, letter C. Christine Jane, letter C. Gabriel, letter C. Christian, letter C. Julian. Perehas, letter C. John David, letter C. Okay. C. So the correct answer is letter C. Okay, so let's discuss bakit letter C. Okay, so take note, yeah, but before we proceed, mag-eliminate muna tayo. Okay, so they use a lot of NPK fertilizer to help the roots to grow fast. NPK fertilizers, it refers to nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilizers. Pero the utilization of a lot of this fertilizer would be detrimental to the health of the plants. So obviously, A is not the correct answer. Okay, so B, they use BT corn. BT corn is a GMO, genetically modified organism. Okay, BT corn meaning Bacillus thuringiensis, in which I believe it can withstand heat. Okay, and then so obviously letter D is not the correct answer. Okay, kasi mali na yung A and B. So therefore, ang sagot ay letter C. So anong itsura ng apical meristem pag tinignan niyo siya sa microscope? Okay, so ito ang itsura ng apical meristem. So siya yung humahaba sa roots. Okay, so siya yung humahaba sa roots, and then actually hindi lang sa roots pati sa mga stems. May mga apical meristems, may mga apical meristems doon. Okay? So that's for question number 5. Are we clear? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for answering. Sige. So let's proceed with, ayan, question number, pangilan ba? 6? Anyway, okay, so let's proceed with this question. Normally, okay, human erythrocytes do not have nucleus due to enucleation. So what do you think is the importance of this process to the erythrocytes? Okay, so letter A, improves the surface area of the cell, hence it will acquire more oxygen and carbon dioxide. Letter B, aid in an efficient blood circulation, particularly entering capillaries. Letter C, it enable the cell to bend, and letter D, all of the above. So timer starts now. Okay, so ayan. Eto, may nagsabi dito, di ko po yan get. Sige, paliwanag natin. Okay, letter D kasi all of the above. Yeah, thank you. D, listen, sabi ni Paula, letter D, listen to our guts, guys. Okay, si Enoch, letter D. John Benedict, letter D, they all logically made sense to me. Okay, good. D kasi all of the above. Ayun, ang sabi ni Johan, I will not fall for all of the above. Okay. Okay, sige. Thank you. And then letter, ayan, ano to, si Shane. Sana mapansin ni boss. Mapapansin ka din ni boss. Wait ka lang. Ayan. And then most of you answered letter D. Okay. Time's up. So let's check kung ano ang correct answer. Okay, so the correct answer is actually letter D. Okay, so ano nga ba yung tinatawag na enucleation? Okay, pag sinabi mong enucleation, kasi 'di ba, 'di ba sa ating cell bio nung grade 11 or nung grade 12, 'di ba, lahat most of cells do have cells. I mean, most of the cells do have nucleus rather. However, sa case ng human erythrocytes, naaalis yung nucleus. Okay? So paano siya naaalis? Okay, alam nyo to, Alam niyo yung bulalo, yung sinusudsod, yung meme na sinusudsod, okay? Tandaan nyo na ang production ng blood ay lagi, or yung tinatawag na hematopoiesis or hemopoiesis, ay nangyayari sa, or sa anong system? Sa skeletal system. Specifically sa bone marrow. Okay? So sa bone marrow. So doon nangyayari yung hematopoiesis and then hemopoiesis. And then ang itsura ng red blood cells under the microscope ay ayan. Hindi lang siya masyadong kuha yung kanyang ang tawag dito, yung kanyang shape. Okay? Pero ganyan yung itsura ng red blood cells. Okay? So paano nangyari? 'Di ba? Ang lagi niyo tatandaan, ang precursor or kung saan nanggaling. Ang precursor ng or bago pa maging RBC ang isang RBC, dumaan muna siya sa pro-erythroblast, okay, and then magiging erythroblast. Okay? And during the erythroblast part, okay, kapag naging erythroblast na yung pro-erythroblast, okay, so dun na maalis yung nucleus. Okay? So kapag naalis na yung nucleus, okay, ang process na yon ay tinatawag na enucleation. Okay? Okay, and then it will become reticulocyte, and then until it will become a matured or a mature erythrocyte or RBC. Okay, so ano nga bang advantage ng enucleation? Obviously, okay, kapag wala kang nucleus dun sa cell mo, it will actually improve the surface area. Hence, mas maraming makukuwang oxygen at carbon dioxide yung erythrocyte. Okay? And letter B, it aid in efficient blood circulation, particularly entering capillaries. Okay, so syempre yung capillaries sobrang liit lang nung mga nung butas na yon or nung blood vessel na yon. So therefore, kayang makapag-bend ng erythrocytes para makapag-pass through siya dun sa capillary. Okay? So kaya the correct answer is letter D. Okay? So are we clear with that one? Thumbs up tayo. Ayan, bigla daw siyang ginutom dahil sa thank you Mark CG. Bigla daw siyang ginutom dahil sa bulalo, sa sinusutsot. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed. Ayan pala. Let's proceed to the next question. Okay, so the next question is Junella is a famous songwriter who recently released a new single, Ikigai. In 2024, he released his single, Binibining May Salamander, that is dedicated to his herpetologist girlfriend. Which of the following is the correct way of writing a scientific name of a salamander if he wrote his song draft on a piece of paper? Letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D. Okay, sige. Tingnan natin kung tama ang ginawa ni Junella sa kanyang sinulat na song na Binibining May Salamander. Okay, sige. Sir, kain po tayong balo. Oy, sige, mamaya pa. Pagkatapos na. Ang sagot ay letter D, sabi ni Zephanie. Sabi ni Jelly ay. Ang sabi ni Mark CJ, letter D. Sabi ni Shita niya, tambay si Sir sa fb.com. Okay. Okay. And then letter C, bakit sabi ni Honey, bakit bawal letter C? Okay, sabi ni Kian, ayan, letter D, sana pa mapansin. Okay. May tanong dito, si Junella din ba ang kumanta ng Marilan? Letter D, kailangan ba naka-underline? Ayan, sige, sagutin natin. Okay? So, ayan. The correct answer is actually letter D. Ayan. So, bago tayo pumunta doon, i-discuss muna natin. In biology, meron tinatawag na taxonomy and then systematics. Okay? Or may tinatawag na, wait lang, i-move ko lang ang cellphone ko. Ayan. So sa biology, may tinatawag tayong taxonomy and systematics. Okay, so kapag sinabi mong taxonomy, it actually names or or ang kanyang characteristic is nomenclature, identification, okay, and then nomenclature, identification. Okay, on the other hand, kapag sinabi mong systematics, ang meron sa kanya ay phylogeny. Okay, so kapag sinabi mong phylogeny, okay, it actually dates you back or malalaman mo yung relationship ng ancestor at ng kanyang mga descendant using a specific gene. Okay? And then when it comes to writing scientific name naman, ang sa amin sa zoology, ang sinusunod na, meron din kasi sa plants, meron din sa mga viruses, sa mga bacteria rather. And so sa mga fungi and so on and so forth. Pero sa amin mga zoologists, ang ginagamit namin or ang sinusunod namin ay etong International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature. Okay? So, ayan. And lagi niyong tandaan, paki-take note din na ang scientific name ay merong two parts. Okay? So, the first one is actually yung genus. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag halimbawa sa UPCAT, assuming sa UPCAT na given yung scientific name, okay, yung tinatanong yung genus, okay, yung first word ng scientific name, ang tawag doon ay genus yon. Okay? And then yung second part, okay, on this case, di ba, we have this one or itong Babesia, that's the genus. Okay? And then itong Microti, okay, this is the specific epithet. Okay, so you have the genus and you have the specific epithet. Okay, and take note, ayan, so balik ulit tayo doon. According sa rules ng ICZN, ayan, lagi niyong tatandaan na ang genus, okay, ay dapat nagsisimula sa capital letter. Okay? And then yung specific epithet, okay, ay dapat nagsisimula sa nagsisimula siya sa small letter. Okay? And then take note then, it should be a specific epithet. Okay? Kasi sa taxonomic hierarchy, yung species is the entire scientific name. Okay? So it should be genus and then the specific epithet. Okay? So going back to this one, so ayun na-establish na natin na kapag genus, dapat nagsimula siya sa capital letter at kapag specific epithet, nagsimula siya sa small letter. Okay? So obviously, yung yung letter A is mali na kagad kasi yung specific epithet ay nagsimula sa capital letter. Okay? So meron lang tayong letter B, letter C, letter D. Okay? Ang sabi kasi dito, 'di ba, context clue. Okay? So sabi dito, sinulat na ni June Nela, okay, sa papel. So therefore, kapag isusulat mo ang scientific name sa papel, dapat underlined siya. Okay? Pero kapag typewritten, okay, dapat naka-italicize siya. Okay? So, sir, bakit po yung letter B? Bakit po yung letter B? Okay, tama po ba siya or mali? Actually, tama din naman yung letter B kung typewritten. At syempre, meron pang isang rules kung paano when it comes to writing scientific name, lalo kapag mag-shortcut na tayo. Okay? So for example, okay? For example, yung Abistoma maculatum ay sinulat mo dito sa first part or dito sa first part na halimbawa, Abistoma maculatum blah 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 is blah blah blah. Okay? And then sa susunod na sentence, pwede mo nang gamitin a maculatum. Okay? So ganun yung rules. Okay? So if ever man in the future kung mapupunta kayo sa field ng biology, okay? So ganun yung rules. Okay? Sa pagsusulat ng scientific name. Okay? So again, Babesia microti, okay, genus, specific epithet. Okay? Kapag handwritten, so dapat underlined. Kapag typewritten, dapat naka-italics. Okay? And take note na ang species name or ang species, okay, at ang scientific name are just the same. Okay? So ayan. So okay pa ba tayo? Thumbs up ulit tayo dyan or heart? Yes, yeah, ayun. I'll just answer yung isa sa mga question dito. Kagaya ng sinabi ni Mark CJ, na kapag nabanggit mo na siya sa previous sentence mo, okay, or sa previous paragraph or paragraphs, okay, automatically shorten. Pwede mo na siyang i-shorten form. Okay? Okay, thank you. Sige. So, okay na, let's proceed na sa ating parang time's up na tayo. Pero anyway, sige, let's proceed na sa next. Ayan, next question. Ayan, good job, kayang-kaya daw. Sige, proceed na tayo sa ating next question. Sabi dito, Laliza and Baby M conducted an experiment on bangka-bangkaan or yung Rueos Patasea. After making a slide, they both viewed it under the microscope. Excuse me. Identify the cell that is pointed by the pointer in the picture below. Okay, so ano daw yung cell? Okay, so A, subsidiary cell, B, epidermal cell, letter C, guard cell, and then letter D, stomata. Okay, so sige, magbasa ulit tayo. Ayun, ang wait ng answer dito, wait lang. Sabi ni Carlene, letter D daw, kasi mukhang mata. Okay, okay, sabi ni Shin, okay, letter D, the whole breathing part, the dahon ay through the stomach. Okay, very good. Okay, sabi ni Julian, letter D, um, wala daw sila. Sabi ni Rain, wala daw sila yung nagme-makeup. Sino yun? Okay, anyway, thank you. Sabi ni Marga, letter D, Martini, letter D. Okay? Sabi ni Axel, letter D. D kasi D ba talaga tayo pwede? Okay. So ayan, may hugot. Okay? Sige. So let's try to answer this specific question. Okay, so the correct answer is actually letter D. So eto, yung nakita nyo dyan, ayan. Ayan yung stomata. Okay? Yung subsidiary cells, etong black part na yan, so that is actually subsidiary cell. Okay? Yung guard cell, etong 'di ba, parang nakita niyo yung yung sa Lord of the Rings. Okay? Yung sa gitna, yun yung stomata. Pero yung etong part, yung part na nakapaligid doon sa stomata, ayun yung guard cells, which actually regulates the open or siya yung nag-regulate ng pag-open and pag-close ng stomata. Okay? And then stomata, obviously function is for gas exchange. Okay? So that's why the correct answer is letter D. Okay, I think second to the last question ka na. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. So Chris Ross and CJ Perez of the San Miguel Beermen utilized Saccharomyces cerevisiae, okay, or yung yeast, okay, in making the famous beer San Miguel Pale Pilsen. As cerevisiae is an example of facultative anaerobe. What is a facultative anaerobe or facultative organism? Okay, so ayan, you may start answering. Okay. Sige. According to, Maria Josephine Conte, letter B. Christine, letter B. Romulo, letter B. Julian, letter B. Facultative organism, both function in both aerobic and anaerobe. Okay, letter B kasi may anaerobe. Okay, thank you. Umuulan daw dito, umuulan dito, di ko marinig salita ni sir, sabi ni Genuine. Anyway, I think recorded naman to, so makikita mo, mababalikan mo naman siya dun sa, yung tawag dito, dito sa page. And then sa group. Okay, so letter B, sagot ni Angelo. Enoch, letter B. B, kasi fermented ang beer. Okay. So, sige. So, the correct answer is actually letter. Okay? So, letter B. Okay? So, kapag sinabi mong facultative organism, okay, so they can actually thrive okay, in the presence and absence of oxygen. Okay, so meaning, 'di ba? So meaning dun sa ating cellular respiration, 'di ba? Kung matatandaan nyo, glycolysis, you do have the glycolysis, you have the tricarboxylic acid cycle or yung Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain. Okay, so that is the aerobic pathway. And then if it is anaerobic pathway, or meaning may walang oxygen, so mag-undergo siya ng after glycolysis, it's either a lactic acid fermentation, or lactic acid fermentation and ethanolic fermentation. Sa case ng yeast, nag-undergo siya ng ethanolic fermentation. Okay, so kaya ang ibig sabihin ng facultative organism, they can thrive in the presence and absence of oxygen. Okay? Okay, so ayan. So I think this is my last question. So let's proceed. So according Mako and Patrick have their blood drawn for blood typing. The the results show that both of them are AB positive. What do you think is the meaning of positive in their blood typing results? So ano daw yung ibig sabihin nito na ito? Bakit daw may positive? A, both of them are truly AB patients. B, both of them have AB antigens. Letter C, both of them have the RH antigen. And then letter D, their parents are both AB positive. Okay, so timer starts now. Okay, so eto, sabi ni Carlene, C kasi, C po kasi cute. Okay? So, ayan, sabi ni Honey, any bottle. Okay, yung answer kanina. Okay, sabi ni John, letter C, thank you. Ayan, sabi ni Mark, ulit, letter C, very good. Si Chelsea, letter C. Si Shane, letter C. Sebastian, letter C. Si Ninya, letter C. Okay, letter C. Si John Benedict, letter C. Okay, letter C, positive, ewan, feeling ko lang. Sabi ni Yon Show. Letter C, sabi ni Russell, nag-cheat daw si Patrick. Ay, wala akong kinalaman dun. Nilagay ko lang sa lada. Anyway, okay. So the correct answer is actually letter C. Okay, so both of them have RH antigen. So alamin natin, ano bang ibig sabihin ng RH antigen? Okay. But before we proceed with that one, so ibig sabihin kapag, 'di ba, kapag nagpa-blood type ka, kaya ka O positive, O negative, and so on and so forth, it's because of the presence of the RH antigen. Okay, so saan nga ba galing yung RH antigen? Actually, based on study, ang RH antigen ay unang na-discover sa rhesus or sa maculata rhesus or sa rhesus monkey. Okay, so ang ibig sabihin ng positive doon ay yun yung RH blood group. Okay, kapag sinabing RH blood group, okay, na it's either positive ka or negative, or meron kang presence ng RH factor or RH antigen. Okay, meron or wala, I mean. Okay, or normally, yung commonly ang tawag dun sa RH antigen na yan is yung antigen D. Okay? So ayan, in the future, kapag mag-experiment kayo ng blood typing, okay, if ever man mapunta kayo sa field ng biology, ito yung mangyayari. Kapag, so magpapataka ng dalawang dugo, okay, tutusukan mo ipiprick mo yung daliri mo, and then magpapatak ka. Then lalagyan siya ng anticoagulant. Okay? So kapag kapag may coagulation, okay, dun sa B, ibig sabihin, ang blood type mo is letter B. Kapag wala, obviously, kapag may coagulation sa A, ang blood type mo ay A. Kapag both, so merong AB. Okay, and then kapag wala, so type O ka. Okay? Okay, so do you have any questions or clarifications since meron na lang tayong meron tayong ilan ba? Sorry. Sorry. Meron tayong 8 minutes. Okay? So, ayan. So, ayan lang, may bibigay lang ako sa inyong tips, sa I mean, I'm not, an UPCAT, passer, pero I've taught in UPLB, in UP Baguio. Okay? So, normally, ayun. So, ang tips na binibigay ko sa is aralin nila maigi. Lahat ng subjects, okay, so ayan, may mga different techniques, so nakadepende yan sa'yo kasi iba-ibang tao, iba-ibang techniques ng pagre-review. Okay? So pero ako sa inyo, eto, may tips ako sa inyo. Ayan. So, ang sabi ni ang sabi ni Tony G, sabay-sabay nating sabihin ang sinabi ng Bini, okay, na sa pagre-review ang buhay ay hindi karera. So, siyempre nagrebat, okay, si Maha. So, ang sabi ng Bini, ang buhay daw ay di karera. So, ang rebuttal kay ni Maha Salvador. So, dapat dahan-dahan lang daw. Okay, so dahan-dahan lang tayo sa pag-review at 'wag nating pressurein ang sarili natin. Okay, magpahinga kapag kailangan. Okay, so mag-enjoy kapag kailangan, kapag feeling niyo overloaded na yung utak niyo. Kaya ang sabi ni Omar B, dapat chill lang tayo or kalmado lang, okay, sa pagre-review. Okay? And I believe, ayun, kagaya nung kung napansin niyo yung sinulat ko dun sa or yung nakalagay dun sa mock test. Okay, so, ayun, i-claim niyo na tayong lahat ay sa-success. Okay? Tayong lahat ay sa-success, I mean, kayong lahat ay sa-success at makakapasa sa UPCAT. At sabay-sabay tayong kakanta ng UP naming mahal at yung Universidad ng Pilipinas chant kapag nasa UAAP tayo. Okay? So I believe that's it from me. Ayan, if you do have further questions, I believe may group chat tayo. So pwede niyong itag doon at Sherwin Escorel. Kung may mga bagay na kung may mga bagay na medyo nalilito kayo or mga advice when it comes to biology, okay, and so on and so on and so on. Okay. So I think that's it from me.
Ayan, thank you so much, Sir Sherwin. So, sa biology talaga, very heavy on memorization. So, ang personal tip naman na mabibigay ko sa subject na 'to would be repetition talaga. So, marami tayong kailangan i-memorize sa bio. Technique diyan is spaced repetition or, ulit-ulitin niyo lang yung, mga concepts from beginning to end. At kapag natapos niyo siyempre ulit-ulitin niyo hanggang eventually makukuha niyo na rin or mame-memorize niyo na rin lahat ng terms. Alright, so next natin ngayon, sige check ko lang, kung nandito na ba si Sir JM. Yan. Hi Sir JM, so introduce ko na ngayon yung ating, second speaker. Share screen ko muna ulit.
Hi, I'm Sir J, and this is Charlie. Wala lang, pampagod vibes lang. Nakamute ba ako? Hello? Narinig mo ako? Muted po. Okay. Wait lang. Hello? Nakamute ba ako? Okay. Narinig niyo na ako ngayon? Hello? Sa mga nasa audience? Hello? Yes, yun. Okay. So, again, sorry about that. Hindi, hindi pa rin ba? Nakamute pa rin? Wait lang. Hello? Hello? Ayun, okay. Narinig ba ako? Like, binuksan ko rin yung sa cellphone ko na I'm opening the live stream so I can hear it. Um, So hopefully, narinig niyo rin ako. If ever naman, I think may recording. Yun, okay. So marami na nag-okay. Thank you, thank you. All right. So again, good evening. I am Sir J. I will be your chemistry instructor for tonight. Again, this is Charlie. Say hi. Kala mo aso ko, eh. Hindi naman to aso ko. Hindi ko yung aso. So, I'm actually at a different house right now. So, in case na may marinig yung mga kahol, I apologize for that. But, yeah, so tonight, we'll be discussing, yun, tonight we'll be discussing some of the, well, all of the questions dun sa mock exam nung chemistry. And hopefully nasagot nyo siya. Kung hindi nyo na siya nasagot, maybe you should ask some of the people at KIPAP kasi I believe there's a Facebook group where you can have access to some of the mock exams for the free cut review. And then if you want like more input or more feedback sa mga or more tips or more modules and all that, definitely do enroll in KIPAP. And I'm just not just saying this kasi kaibigan ko si Vivi, but really like the modules that they have are very, very useful. Especially in such a way na, tawag ito, online siya. So, syempre kung busy-busy din tayo, malaking tulong din siya. So, ayun. Okay. So, I guess we should just get right into it. Let's go to our first question. Okay. There. So, ma-spoil yung question. So, ano natin na? Hello. Lagi yata doon sa ano. Anyway, sorry. Can people from K-pop tell me kung nakita na siya sa Steam? Okay. Okay, you're there. Okay. Sige. So anyway, first question. Given the atom, P with a 15 at the bottom na subscript and a 31 na naka-superscript, which statement is true? So A, this isotope has 15 protons and 31 neutrons. B, this isotope would have different physical properties compared to a P with a 32 superscript and a 15 subscript. C, this element has high electrical conductivity. Or D, this element belongs in the S block. Right? So, I think there's a 1-minute timer. So, kinakabahan ako. Pag nag-press ko dito, baka mamaya lumitaw yung ano. So, ako muna lang magbibilang ng 1 minute. I want to see some of your answers. Marami nagsasabi ng A, meron B, right? Ba't ganito, sir? And, alright, so, maraming B. Maraming B, may mga iba A. Hindi sila sure. Walang gustong kumuha ng C or D. Okay. Sige. So, I guess it's been a minute. So, let me press. Correct answer is B. This isotope would have different physical properties compared to 3215P. Okay, so isasayin natin. First, P there stands for phosphorus. That is the chemical symbol for phosphorus. And it's written in a notation wherein na-identify natin kung ano yung two important numbers in an atom. You have your atomic number and your mass number. Right? Yung atomic number, siya yung 15 sa baba. Ang atomic number, ito yung number ng protons in an element. Kaya siya tawag na atomic number kasi every element has a specific atomic number. In the case of phosphorus, it's 15. So, saan nalalaman yon? Sa periodic table. Right? The 31 represents the mass number. So, the mass number is the count of protons plus neutrons. So, bakit protons plus neutrons? Kasi they make up most, if not all, of the mass of an atom. Right? So, in this case, itong 31P, or phosphorus 31, for that matter, meron siyang 15 protons and 31 minus 5, or 16 neutrons. So, that already eliminates letter A. Right? Now, skip na natin si B. Bakit hindi siya C? Si C, sabi niya, element has a high electric conductivity. Phosphorus is an example of a non-metal. So non-metals have low electrical conductivity. Right? So hindi sila nakakapag-conduct ng electricity or even heat for that matter. Or at least hindi sila kasing galing as your metals. And then D, this element belongs in the S block. So if you have a periodic table with you, or if you can visualize the shape at least of a periodic table, you can separate them into what we call blocks. Merong S, P, D, and F. Si S block, siya po yung unang dalawang column sa periodic table. Si P block, siya yung huling 6. Si D block ay yung middle 10. At si F block yung dalawang row na nasa ilalim ng mga periodic table. Okay? So again, the answer here is B kasi, well, by process of elimination. But also, one important detail with isotopes, right? So, na-introduce yung term na yan, isotope. Pag sinabi natin isotope, isotopes are same element but different mass numbers. Now, kung same ang element niya at different ang mass number, ibig sabihin, same ang kanyang proton number pero iba ang kanyang neutron number. Right? So, yung 31 siya yung mass number. Again, protons plus neutrons. At yung 15, siya yung atomic number, which is just protons. Ngayon, si P32, 32 rin mass number niya. Pero phosphorus pa rin siya. Kasi parehong 15 ang protons nila. Pero kaya nagkaiba na number kasi mas marami ng neutron si phosphorus. Right? Now, isotopes have the same, different physical properties but the same chemical properties. Same chemical properties kasi they're the same element. So kung ano man yung chemical properties ng phosphorus, kahit anong isotope pa yan, pareho lang yan. Pero kaya different yung physical properties niya kasi magkaiba sila ng mass. Mas marami ng neutron si P32, si phosphorus 32 kaysa kay phosphorus 31. Okay? So hopefully that answers some of the questions in the chat. Okay? Again, kung nahirapan kayo, you can, I believe you can rewatch this naman sa page ng Kipap. Or just comment your, comment your questions. Definitely, I will be answering them as best I can. Okay? This question pa lang yan, guys. Sana naman. Bawit tayo. Alright, number 2. Change. Yun. Uy, ngayon lumito yung timer. Okay. How many moles are there in 2.0 grams of gas or helium gas? Right? So given na daw dito, ang molar mass ni helium daw na gagamitin natin ay 4.0 grams per mole. A, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Looks like a familiar number. B, 3.011 times 10 to the 23rd. C, 1. D, 0.5. Right? Per minute. The clock. Nawala siya. Okay. So, ako lang magbibilang ng 1 minute. Anywho, tingnan natin. Sabi, Chelsea, D. Sabi ni Nina, D. Sabi ni Prince William, D. Kaya rin na ba, sir, mag-exam kahit bed ka man? Oy. Mahilig tayo kay Sabrina Carpenter dito. D. Saan po kayo nakatira? Bakit ba? D. Okay, marami nagsasabi ng D. Marami nagbibigay ng explanation kung bakit D. Right? Okay. So, I believe that has been a minute. Tansya ko lang. May type tayo, sir. Definitely. Using psychrometry po. Sagot ay D. Okay. The answer is indeed D. 0.5. Okay. Isa-isa natin, no? Paano ba sinasolve itong problem na to? You have to remember that the moles, right? Moles are a unit of measurement similar to the term dozen. Di ba pag sinabi natin dosena, anong napapasok sa isip natin? 12, di ba? So meron kang isang dosenang itlog, that's 12 eggs. When we say the term mole in the context of chemistry, kunyari, meron kang 1 mole. 1 mole is equal to a certain number of particles. At yun yung tinatawag nating Avogadro's number. At yun yung famous 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. So sabi daw ni Avogadro, mahirap magbilang ng particles, sobrang liit nila, sobrang dami nila that exist. So gagamit tayo ng term na moles para mas madali natin siyang mabilang. Now, pag sinabi natin molar mass means the mass or the physical grammage, I mean, that's not a word, but basically kung ilang grams daw ang isang mole of a particular element. So, binigay dito na for this element, si helium, 4.0 grams per mole daw. So, pag sinabi mo, meron kang 1 mole ng helium, meron kang 4 grams ng helium. Pareho yun. Pag tinimbang mo ang 1 mole ng helium gas, 4 grams daw siya. Ano yung 1 mole ng helium? 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of helium. Kunyari, meron kang timbangan, 4 grams daw siya. So, ang tanong dito, ilan daw yung moles kapag 2 grams ng helium? So, a common misconception dito is, gagamitin ko ba yung Avogadro's number or not? In this case, hindi. Kasi, alam mo na meron kang isang mole pag meron kang 4 grams ng helium. So, kung 2 grams daw, ayun, kalahati lang, di ba? And therefore, you have half a mole or D, 0.5 moles. Okay? Kailan ka gagamit ng Avogadro's number? Gagamit ka ng Avogadro's number kapag merong question that has the term atom or molecule or particle. Kunyari ang tanong, ilang atoms daw ang nasa 2 grams ng helium gas? Kung ang tanong ay naging ilang atoms ng helium ang nasa 2 grams ng helium gas, you need to first find out how many moles that is. Hanapin na natin, 0.5 moles daw. And then you multiply Avogadro's number. So magiging 0.5 times 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, which would be 3.11 times 10 to the 23rd. So, minsan, and I see this sometimes in college entrance exam choices, may mga choices dyan na maging panggulo because they know that there are other alternatives that you want to try. So, it's important na makuha natin yung formula ng maayos. No? A quick tip that I could help you out with, gagawa lang ako ng quick mnemonic, just in case you forget. Sana lumitaw siya sa Facebook. Yun. Alright, so here's a triangle. Here's a line in the middle of the triangle. Lalagay ako ng G sa taas. Lalagay ako ng M times multiplication mark mole. We use this quick mnemonic to find out what to do, when to multiply or divide when I'm using molar mass, grams, or mole. Pag molar mass daw, kunyari, tatakpan mo yung mm, ang matitira dyan, G over mole. So, grams divided by moles. Kung moles daw ang hinahanap mo, tatakpan mo yung mole, G over mm, grams over molar mass. At kung grams ang hinahanap mo, multiply mo yung mm at moles. Okay, so it's a quick mnemonic just in case you forget when to multiply or when to divide. Okay? May questions? Oh my, wala na ako naintindihan. Oh. Okay lang yan, guys. Kaya nga po tayo nagre-review. So, definitely, just take the time to read up every now and then. And then, of course, kung mag-enroll kayo sa Kapapi, would be a very, very huge help to you. Next. Right. A 5-gram sample of gas occupies 10.0 liters at 300 Kelvin. What volume does it occupy at 600 Kelvin at a constant pressure of 2 atm? 5, 15, 20, or 30 liters? Gumagana na tayo. Okay. Sabi niya si... Sir, paano po nakuha yung 0.5? This is from the last question. Again, well, ang kaganda dito is nasa Facebook to, so I think you can scroll back a little bit, rewatch this. But basically, we talked about the mole concept in the last question. So a lot of C's. C for Charles's Law. Ooh, may binanggit na law dito ah. C daw, sabi sir. C daw sir, sabi nila. Hindi ko na po maintindihan. C. Yun si Stephanie, tinuruan si MJ. Thank you very much. C. Okay. We have 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So tama ba na C ang sabi ng madlang people? The answer is C. It is 20 liters. Now, and the clue is in one of the comments na nabanggit ni, wait lang, sino ba yung nagsabi nun? Si Enoch at saka si Nina, no? So they use the term Charles's Law. Yes. So Charles's Law is an example of your ideal gas laws, right? Yung ideal gas laws, ito yung mga laws that shows like relationships between factors of ideal gases, right? And Charles's Law in particular illustrates the relationship between volume and temperature. So, ang kagandahan dito sa ano na to, or hindi naman maganda, pero like ang trick dito sa question na to is there's information here na hindi mo kailangan. Ano yung mga hindi mo kailangan? Hindi mo kailangan yung grams, hindi mo kailangan yung pressure. Right? Bakit? Kasi sinabi na yung constant pressure at sinabi naman na meron kong isang sample lang. So, hindi siya magbabago. Ano yung nagbago? Ang nagbago ay yung X mo. Hindi. Yung nagbago ay yung temperature. Right? So, yung nagbago sa temperature, from 300 Kelvin daw, tumaas to 600. Which is pretty much 100% change. Dumoble siya. Right? At sabi daw sa Charles's Law, ang volume at ang temperature, right? Sila daw ay directly or indirectly proportional. Sila ay directly proportional. Pag tumaas ang temperature, tumataas ang volume. So pag dumoble ang temperature, tataas or dodoble din ang volume. From 10 liters magiging 20. Any questions? Yata nasaktan dun sa nagbago yung X nila. Sorry naman. Right? So yes, this is an example of Charles's Law. One thing that some questions that you may see in college entrance exam is that magbibigay sila ng maraming values pero hindi mo kailangan. So mainam na you look at which ones I can do away with. Right? And that involves like really reading the question and then filtering out the noise and just figuring out, okay, this is merely a question of Charles's Law. Here ko na po ha. Any questions po? Para nasasaktan? O sige, lipat tayo. Bubo na tayo. Next. Which molecule has a non-polar covalent bond? Again, which molecule has a non-polar covalent bond? HCl, NH3, H2O, or CO2? Bigyan natin ng isang minuto. Ano mga hula niyo po? Non-polar covalent bond. D daw. D. Mabilis ni niya. Mabilis ata internet ni niya. Lalagay mo lang sa kasagot. D. Share na itong C ko. D. C. Uy. Iba sabi. C daw. D. Excuse me. D. Sabi nung mga nasa taas. D kasi yun lang yung gusto ko. D. Same sila na ilan. C. Sabi na periodical exam namin. Oh. Exam nyo lang din. Introduction. 3, 2, and 1. All right. So which molecule daw has a non-polar covalent bond? The answer is B, CO2. Okay, bakit po? Right? The best way to answer this kind of question is to illustrate them. So this is a question on molecular shapes. Right? Or tinatawag natin na VSEPR theory or Vesper theory, Vesper theory. Ano yung gusto mong basahin niya? VSEPR, valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. Right? At sabi sa theory na yun, like we can predict the shapes of your molecules based on the arrangement of their valence shell electron pairs. Kasi daw, yung mga electron pair, meron yung mga repulsion. Right? So, let's draw each of these molecules. Una, si HCl. Meron kang H at meron kang Cl. Right? Pero, pag dinip itong Cl na to, meron pa siyang mga valence electron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, actually. Kasi itong bond na to corresponds to 2. So, si chlorine ay merong 8 electrons, si hydrogen ay merong 2 electrons. Right? Now, pag sinabi natin non-polar as opposed to polar, it means na yung molecule mo ay merong poles. Right? Meron siyang positive side at negative side. Right? So, paano malaman kung positive or negative? Kapag negative side, nandun yung mga electrons mo. At kapag positive, yun yung mas konti yung electrons. So, in this case, HCl, covalent bond yan kasi meron kang sharing of electrons. Pero hindi siya non-polar kasi mapansin natin si chlorine mas maraming electron kesa kay hydrogen. So, ito yung tinatawag natin na partially negative side at ito yung si hydrogen naman yung partially positive. This squiggly line thing I'm drawing is the Greek small Greek letter delta. Delta yata yan. Hindi yata common for signal. So one of those. But basically that means na partial yung positivity and partial negativity. So since meron kang positive and negative side, polar siya. Paano sa NH3? Si NH3 naman, ang shape niya parang tripod. So meron kang tatlong H na naka-arrange na parang tripod. Right? H dito, H dito, right? And then H dun sa isa. Ngayon, since pa-tripod siya, right? Hindi siya flat. So if you imagine these bonds to be similar to like ropes na parang tug of war yan, sino mananalo? Yung mga H o yung nitrogen? Siyempre mananalo dyan yung H. Kasi ang direction nila pare-pareho ng direction. Right? So, since meron kang meron kang side na parang mas mananaig kung tug of war to, it means that if there was actual electron pair repulsion, there will be a winner and a loser. There will be a positive side and negative side. And in the case of NH3, yung positive side natin ay yung mga H. Kasi ito yung mas konti yung electrons. Si nitrogen, meron pa yan dito dalawang electron. Ito daw, nagbibigay ng negativity. So, meron ka rin plus and minus. So, again, polar. H2O, right? Meron kang dalawang H at isang O. Pero H2O kasi, hindi siya arranged in a line. It's actually arranged like this, bent. At bakit siya bent? Kasi meron kang dalawang electron pairs kay oxygen. Right? Because of VSEPR, electron pair repulsion, yung electrons na yun, tinutulak niya palayo yung dalawang hydrogen. Hence, meron kang molecule na hindi flat, pa-bend siya. Right? And therefore, kung again, we do the tug of war analogy, mananalo yung isang side. Or at least may isang side na mananalo. So, polar pa rin siya. Si CO2, siya lang yung flat, yung pagkakadraw, yung shape niya. Meron kang double bonds from carbon to your oxygen. And because they're double bonds, they're tighter bonds, mas batak yung hila niyan, and therefore, mas nagiging flat or linear ang tawag sa shape na yan. So, walang mananaig dyan. Kung tag-of-war yan, pantay yan. Kasi pareho lang ng oxygen yan eh. So, pareho lang ang lakas nila. So, at least, dito, magpapantay yung polarities. Walang pinaka-polar, walang pinaka-positive, walang pinaka-negative. So, non-polar. Yung sinabi, no? Any questions? Right? Questions po? If I'm not mistaken, this is taught in junior high school. So, wala siya dun sa, hindi naman necessarily na kailangan STEM strand ka para mag-gets mo to. But hopefully, kung hindi man to discuss with or hindi niya na matandaan, that's what, Kipap sets review is for. So, kaya tayo nagre-review. So, don't be too worried kung nagkalimutan na. These are all in the modules that Kipap has. So, right? Sige po. Next question po. Natin. Alright. Marami ng, kakaibang mga numbers and letters. If delta H is equal to negative 250 kilojoules and delta S is equal to negative 100 joules per Kelvin, what is delta G at 298 Kelvin? Right? So I'll give you a minute for that. A, negative 220.2, B, negative 250, C, positive 220.2, or D, positive 279.8. May double check lang ako. So, I'm sorry. Hold on. Ano pala yung solution ko dito? Alright. Sorry. Kaya ito ang sagot niyo. A1 ko. A, sir, naglalag po. Sorry. Hindi siya naglag. Pinost ko yung share screen. Sorry. Okay. Sige. Kami nagsabi ng A. Sorry, Okay. Okay, sige. Hello? Narinig niya naman ako. Hopefully. Okay. Sige po. So mukhang nahirapan na yung mga ating audience. So the answer here is indeed A. Okay. Now, let's try to explain why this is the case. Right? So this here, right? This, what do you call this? Yeah. So this is a question on thermodynamics. In particular, this is a question on Gibbs free energy. That is what delta G represents. So si Gibbs free energy is siyang measure of spontaneity. Gaano ka spontaneous ang isang chemical reaction. Right? In particular, this is the formula for Gibbs free energy na tinatawag namin agatas. Kasi delta G, right, is equal to, right, delta G is equal to delta H minus T, or temperature, times delta S. Right? So kaya siya agatas. Right? Now, itong delta G equals delta H minus T delta S, ito na yung formula to determine the Gibbs free energy of your thermodynamic reaction. Okay? So, ang gawin lang natin dito is fill in the values for delta H and delta S. So, ano yung delta H natin? Meron kang negative 250 kilojoules. Okay? Negative 250 kilojoules. Tapos, minus, ano yung temperature natin? Meron kang 298, oops, 298 Kelvin. Right? Tapos, times delta S. So, delta S is negative 100. Pero take note, joules per Kelvin po to. So, kailangan natin siyang i-convert to kilojoules. So, how do we convert joules to kilojoules? We divide this by 1,000. Right? Kasi we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So, this is actually negative 0.100. Okay, pangatang sulat ko. Ano lang, okay lang. Alright. So, now we have our values. Right? So, negative 250 minus 298 times negative 0.1. Right? So, pag binat natin yan, that will lead to your negative 220.2 kilojoules. Pag sabi natin negative ang Gibbs free energy, that means that the reaction is spontaneous. Mangyayari ng kusa. Okay? Medyo challenging, yes. Medyo challenging talaga ang thermodynamics. So, definitely, medyo mas kailangan sinsin talaga ang pagbabasa natin dito. But it's not impossible. Right? Yes, it's challenging, but it's not impossible. So, at least in this case, plug and play lang siya talaga ng ating chemical formula. So, I don't really like saying or telling my students to memorize, but in this case, you kind of need to memorize some of the formulas. So, anyway. Here po. Questions? Ang physics ay gawa lamang ni Lucifer para itas pasensya natin. Rhetorical question. Anong, like, what do you call this? Endothermic or exothermic ba ang hair? Or, okay. So we move on to our next question. Yan. Wala nang math. Which following increases the rate of reaction? A, lowering temperature. B, decreasing surface area. C, increasing activation energy. Or D, adding a catalyst. Again, which of the following increases the rate of reaction? A, lowering temperature. B, decreasing surface area. C, increasing activation energy. Or D, adding a catalyst. B, B, B. Estudyante na yata ito sila. Hello? D. Sabi ng D. Salis na. Hindi sila naniniwala sa aking mga other choices. Kanina ako tumama. Hindi naman. So, ipapollow back niyo po ba ako sa IG? Makahanap mo ba yung IG ko? Yung mga batang to. Itong gusto kong teacher. 3, 2, 1. Alright, time's up. The answer for this question is D, adding a catalyst. Okay, nahirapan dito ah. So, what do each of these factors or situations, how do they affect the rate of the reaction? In terms of temperature, para bumilis ang rate of reaction, kailangan natin siyang initin. Case in point, makakapagluto po ba kayo ng kunyari, gusto nyo magprito ng itlog. Paano nyo mapapabilis ang pagprito ng itlog? Siyempre, kailangan yung initin yung initin yung mga pan ninyo, di ba? So, increasing the temperature makes chemical reactions happen quicker. Right? Next, in terms of surface area, gamit ng surface area, ito yung mga contact points or ito yung mga areas for contact in a chemical reaction. Pag in-increase natin ang surface area, ibig sabihin mas maraming contact points. And therefore, it will increase the rate of reaction. Kasi nga, mas maraming areas na magkakaroon ng banggaan ng mga particles mo. Right? So how do you usually increase surface area? Dito papasok yung pagdurog. Okay? For example, if you're familiar with yung gamot na Berocca, di ba ano siya, effervescent tablet siya. So pag nilublob mo siya sa tubig, bubula siya ganyan. Try nyo minsan kung meron kayong ganong tablet na nalulusaw sa tubig, biyakin nyo siya. Di ba mas mabilis matunaw yun? Kasi in-increase mo yung surface area. Next, C, increasing activation energy. Ang activation energy po, ito yung required na energy for a reaction to proceed, for a reaction to be activated. Ngayon, kung tinaas mo yung activation energy, you're actually increasing the barrier. Pinahihirapan mo yung chemical reaction mo. Kasi, nagre-require ka na ng mas marami pang energy than what you usually have. So if anything, you need to lower your activation energy if you want to speed up your chemical reaction. Okay? So the only answer by elimination is D, adding a catalyst. Because what are catalysts? Catalysts, these are elements or metals, usually metals, that make a reaction quicker by lowering the activation energy. Pinadadali niya yung chemical reaction kasi mas konti na lang yung energy na kailangan mong gamitin kapag nilagay mo ng catalyst ang isang reaction. Ang kagandahan sa mga catalyst, hindi sila nako-consume, hindi sila affected sa chemical reaction. They just help out. Yung mga wingman sila, ganun. Any questions? Yan natin mga chat box. Yes, pero ako nag-experiment kami niyan. Inom kayo ng mga vitamins guys, tagulan nyo daw. Okay. Any questions? Means niya. Need pa natin para bumilis para kayo ng surface area para maraming contact at pababain ng activation energy para mabilis. Yes. Si Charlie po. Si Charlie po yun, yung sumigaw. Alright. Thanks sa teacher namin ng sa science ng grade 10. Yes, please thank your teachers. Pagod na sila. Okay, let's go to the next question. Chemical reactions ulit. If pressure is increased in the chemical reaction N2 gas plus 3H2 gas with a reversible arrow turning into 2NH3 gas, where will equilibrium shift? A, left, B, right, C, no change, or D, the reverse reaction halts. Spoil na. Ano, magkukunyari pa ba tayo? Kapitan niya na yata. Sige. Bigyan ko kayo mga 30 seconds para din naman dun sa mga hindi nakakita. B, shift right, shift right. Shift right. Shift right. Kami sa kaliwa kaya napunta sa kanan. My brain is not braining anymore, sir. Same. Sa bahay ako ng iba eh. Hindi na rin makatrabaho ng yes. Char. Alright. B, dahil maliit lang yung elements. B, parang B yung nakita ko na may red box. Sure kayo? Baka yata sa C. Sabi nila shuttle gaze po. Sagot tayo B. B, shifts right. Okay. The answer is indeed B. Okay? So, you're right. This is an example of the Chatelier principle. So, sabi lang ni Chatelier, ang mga chemical reactions in equilibrium, which is what this reaction is, they would adjust in such a way na marirelieve ang induced na, well, for lack of a better term, in pressure, right? But I don't mean pressure in the sense of gas. I mean pressure as in like, kailangan mong galingan ng mag-aaral, ganong klaseng pressure, right? So, to relieve that, mag-a-adjust ang mga chemical reactions. Now, in the case of gases, pag in-increase natin yung pressure ng gas. Sabi ni Chatelier, magsi-shift daw ang reaction to favor the reaction na ang nagre-react, mas marami yung moles ng gas. So to do that, let's look at the chemical reaction. Alin side ang mas marami ang moles ng gas? Halimbawa, meron kang 1 mole ng N2 at 3 mole ng H2O for a total of 4 moles. Sa kanan, meron kang 2 moles ng ammonia gas. So, 2 lang. So, sino mas marami? Kaliwa o kanan? Mas marami daw yun nasa kaliwa. And therefore, sila ay mas magre-react to produce the one to the right. That's why the equilibrium will shift to the right. Kasi mas favored yung reaction na yun. If you think about it this way, when you increase the pressure of a chamber with gases in it, pinagsisiksik mo sila. So, pinipilit mo sila mag-react. So, sino yung mas magre-react? Yung mga mas marami ang participants kesa sa mas konti ang participants. May questions po? Almost. Ako ba yung nagagalit? Or yung nagagalit kayo doon sa nagsaspa? Right? Ako ba pinapakalma niyo? Hindi ko alam kung ako. Yun. Pili ko hindi naman niya sinasadya ba? Baka napindot lang na ulit-ulit tapos naglagi pa niya ang like mine. Okay? Let's do the check. 840. May mga questions mo ba kayo? Kaya may magtanong. Kung may right med po dito. Ako po magre-react kasi napapressure na ako. Tapos yung mas magre-react. Ikunin po ako. Naku, ang hirap dun. 30 tips sa akin. Later, after all these questions, I'll give some of the tips that I have. Sir, end call na. Natok na ako. Same. Tug na nga ako eh. Alright. Next question. Which is the conjugate base of HSO4 minus? Again, which is the conjugate base of HSO4 minus? H2SO4, SO42 minus, H3SO4 plus, or OH minus. Ako na mag-ship kasi pressure niya. Saan grade po yung topics mo? Ano ba ako na gano'n? Ano ko nung grade 10 ako or 4th, well, noong time namin, 4th year pa siya. But yeah, I think no 4th year ako. Yung tips, mamaya, huwag kayong magalala. I will give you tips. Pupuntin na natin ito. Namadali ko na nga. Sumagot na nga kayo. Joke lang. Wait, ang advance. Kasi niya, mabilis yata ang kanyang internet eh. Kuha niya kagad yung ano. Kuha niya kagad yung sagot. Ito ba question? Mas po ba kayo sa amin? Nandito kayo on a Friday night, nagre-review para maabot ang inyong mga pangarap. Ba't ako magagalit? 2 seconds. 1. Okay. Time is up. The correct answer is B. SO42 minus. Now, this is a question on acids and bases, obviously, right? In particular, this is a question on the definition of acid and base as defined by Bronsted and Lowry, right? Sabi daw ni Bronsted at ni Lowry, fun fact pala by the way, so kaya siya talaga na Bronsted-Lowry definition of acids and bases because there's a guy named Bronsted and there's a guy named Lowry that actually don't know each other. Pero they independently worked it out na pareho yung sagot nila, kumbaga. So, hindi sila magkakilala. They only knew about each other's theory. So, kaya siya ginawang Bronsted-Lowry to honor them both. Kasi kung pareho naman yan ako ng tama, ng sabay. Anyway, Bronsted-Lowry's theory on acids and bases states that an acid is a proton donor and a base is a proton acceptor. Right? So, ang basis ng acid or base is kung dinonate or tumanggap ng proton. And in the case of these chemicals, protons are often represented as H plus ions. Kasi they're the same. They're both, a single positive atom or a single positive particle. Right? So, ganito lang yung tanong na which is the conjugate base? Ang tinatanong niya daw ay, sino ka-partner na base ni HSO4 minus? Ibig sabihin, si HSO4 minus ay acid. And therefore, according kay Bronson-Lowry, kung acid ang isang chemical, nagdo-donate siya ng H+. So pag ginawasan natin ng H+, si HSO4 minus, magbabawas ka ng H at magtatanggal ka ng positivity, right? Magiging SO42 minus siya. Ito yung partner na base ni HSO4 minus. Ngayon, bakit natin ganun conjugate base? Kasi acid and bases actually occur in equilibrium reaction. So, in the reverse reaction, magiging base itong si SO42 minus, tatanggap siya ng proton para bumalik siya sa pagiging HSO4 minus. Magka-partner yung mga yan. Kailangan may ka-partner sa acids and bases. Here, any questions po? Note guys, pag walang label lagyan, tama. Alamin mo, sino ang acid, sino ang base. Okay? Guys, wag po kayong magulo. Mawawala yung focus. Alright. Saan po nanggaling yung exponent of the 2 minus? The 2 minus is the charge of the overall ion. Ibig sabihin niya, meron po siyang surplus of 2 electrons. Mas marami ng 2 electrons yung particle. Bakit siya mas marami ng 2? Kasi nabukasan ka na nga ng isang positive. Pag nababukasan ka ng positivity, ano nangyayari sa'yo? Di ba lumulong ko? Nagiging negative. So pag nagbawas ka ng proton, which is positive, magiging negative. Okay? Similarly, pag tumatanggap ka ng electron, tumatanggap ka pa ng negativity, magiging negative. Ngayon, pag nagbigay ka ng positivity, or ng negativity, mabawasan yung electron, magiging positive. Okay? Kaya naman to elimination method. Actually, medyo. Kaya naman siya elimination method as long as you know the definition of acids and bases. Okay? Kaya nga actually H2SO4 and H3SO4 plus yung ibang choices dyan kasi it can be a bit tricky kasi you might need to use a bit of context clues in this case. Excuse me. Alright. Pero paano pag wala kami chemistry? Di iwan mo na siya. Okay, next. Right. What is the oxidation number of Mn in KMnO4? Again, what is the oxidation number of Mn in KMnO4? Plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 7. Ano isang minuto. Ano magiging ano? Hindi ko na maalala. Recess, sir. Gusto ko na rin mag-recess. Tutog na ako. Kahit kaka-dinner ko lang. Alright. Sabi, Chelsea plus 7. Lian plus 7. D. Walang break time. Live stream naman to na pwede nyo panoorin ulit eh. Kung gusto nyo kumain, hindi ko naman kayo pagbabawalan. D. Kasi pinakamataas. Yan tayo eh. Parang pipili ka ng choice dahil yun yung pinakamahabang sentence. D. Hindi na nga. Hindi na nga babalik. Right. Hindi, sasabi nila. Alright. Time's up. The answer in this case is plus 7. Right? So, this is a question on redox. Right? And one of the basic concepts in redox na kailangan natin malaman is the concept of the oxidation number. So, the oxidation number kind of tells us similar to parang siyang charge. It kind of tells you the charge of the atom or the element in this case. And certain elements kasi, meron lang silang known oxidation numbers. For example, si K, si potassium, isa lang ang oxidation number niyan. It's 1. Lagi yung +1. Okay? Si O, most of the time, lagi yung -2. Right? Now, meron kang 4 na O. So, kailangan mo itong i-multiply by 4. -2 times 4 equals -8. Makikita natin, ang KMnO4, wala siyang overall charge. Ibig sabihin, kapag ang mga oxidation number natin ng bawat element dito sa KMnO4, pag inad mo yan lahat, dapat magtatabla yan. Dapat 0 yan. So, +1, +1, plus a number that we don't know, plus -8. This should equal to the charge of your compound, which in this case is equal to 0. Anong number sa blank ang pwede natin ilagay para maging 0 to? The answer is +7. Okay? The answer here is D. Di na uuwi. Di na babalik. Kayo guys, i-memorize ko mga periodic elements. Ay, bitik din ako dyan. About the periodic table. Any questions po? D. There is D plus A. Okay. Yes. Mga hindi na sila nagtatanong. Kasi pag daw sila. Okay, clear all the routines. Next question. Okay, last question ko na pala to. Nice. Okay. Which functional group is present in an ether? Which functional group is present in an ether? OH, COH, O, CHO. 1 minute. Paano nyo po nalaman na yung O ay -2 at K ay +1? Those are known values talaga of those elements, right? So there are many ways to memorize this, but unfortunately, these are just things na kailangan lang talaga memorize. But if you have access to a periodic table, K is in the first column. So lahat ng mga nasa first column na elements, +1 lang lagi ang oxidation number. And si oxygen special yan, lagi siyang -2. And there's like only one instance na hindi siya -2. So by default, -2 siya. Anyway, sabi ng mga tao, nice, pati si Sir Ayos. So may masteral at doctorate po ba ang BS in chemistry? Well, BS is not masters or doctorate, it's undergrad. Pero eventually, yes. Kung hindi mo mahal ang sarili mo, magma-masters o magdo-doctorate ka sa chemistry. Joke lang. Shoutout sa mga friends ko na may masters at PhD. Okay. Last question. The answer here is C. Okay. Now, the way that this question is presented, medyo limited tayo sa formatting kasi like this is just a linear representation of what the molecule looks like. But here, I can draw. Pag sinabi natin itong dash, O dash na to, what we're referring to is in an organic, by the way, this is organic chemistry na. In an organic compound, meron kang carbon chains beside your O. Right? So meron kang O bonded to a carbon chain on the left, represented by R, and bonded to another carbon chain, a different carbon chain, represented by R prime. Ito po ang ether. Ang mga ganito, ang tawag dito ether. Itong OH, yung mga yan, carbon chain, tapos OH ka sa dulo, ito po yung mga alcohol. So dito mo malalaman kung alcohol ang isang compound. For example, ethanol. Ang ethanol, meron niyang 2 carbons, tapos yung OH na dulo. Itong COOH, this is for carboxylic acids. Right? So for example, yung mga acetic acid. meron yung C double bond OH. Dulo. And then yung CHO, those are for your aldehydes. Right? So meron kang C na double bonded to an O like this. Let me draw that. C, tapos double bonded siya sa O, tapos yung C nakakapit pa sa isang H. Pag nasa dulo yan, ibig sabihin, that's an aldehyde. So functional groups, these are the identifying patterns in organic compounds para ma-identify mo anong klaseng organic compound siya. Okay. Ano mga tanong natin? Alright. Hindi na talaga ako papasa ng sure. Papasa ka. Alright. Ay, last na pala to. Anyway, some final thoughts before I go. Right? Kung may airtime pa ako. Just before I go. Common question na tinatanong sa akin, Sir, kailangan bang mag-memorize ng periodic table? The short and sweet answer to that is no. Right? And I confirmed this kasi I teach in a junior and senior high school. Senior high school teacher ako, particularly River Camp. Tapos kakachat ko lang bago nitong live na to. Chinat ko yung valedictorian namin. Na pumasa sa UP, by the way. Congratulations sa kanya kung nakikinig siya. Tinanong ko, kailangan ba yung periodic table? And she said no. Kasi binibigay naman yung pertinent information. If, for example, it's an information that you need from the periodic table, binibigay siya sa questions. So, I'm telling you right now, like, kung meron kayong teacher na nagpapamemorize sa inyo ng periodic table, please ignore them. Char, hindi, no. I don't ask my students to memorize them. It's a tool. You're not supposed to memorize it. It's there for you to, like in real life, your chemists don't memorize the elements in the periodic table. Right? They know where most elements are because of usual paulit-ulit na gamit, pero hindi necessarily minimemorize. Ako, medyo na-memorize ko lang siya kasi lagi ko siya nakikita dahil tinuturo ko siya and everything. Pero hindi dahil nagkabisa ako. Okay? So, similarly, if you want information to be retained in your heads, exposure, repeated exposure. Not in a way that you're memorizing things, but in a way that you're just trying to understand them more. The more you understand something or someone, the more you get to know them, mas napapalapit. At you don't forget what they look like. You know? Ngayon, yun yung biggest tip actually na mabibigay ko sa inyo. Huwag kayo mag-memorize sa periodic table. Kasi hindi siya worth your time and your effort. Okay? So, ayun, mag-OT na tayo. So, pasensya na, pero hopefully may natutunan kayo sa ating review session. Thank you very much to all those who stayed up on a Friday night. Alam kong maulan ngayon, gusto nyo ng cup noodles, pero thank you very much and best of luck sa inyong mga entrance exams.
Hi everyone! Thank you Sir JM for your lessons and I hope may natutunan po ang ating viewers sa ating review tonight. Thank you everyone once again for joining today's session and please answer our feedback form by scanning the QR code here. So yun lang naman guys. Thank you and good night everyone.